5 solved missing people cases. Cases of missing people always leave us dumbfounded, wanting to know not just how they got missing, but why. What made them go missing and where the heck did they go? But the biggest question we're asking here is, how were they found? Well, in this video, we'll be exploring 5 unbelievable cases of missing people discovered in extremely peculiar conditions. But make sure to stick till the end, because the number 1 case on our list is definitely going to make your skin crawl. Not to waste any more of your time, let's get this video started. Number 5, Amber Smith. At number 5, we have a case you might have stumbled across in headlines, although it might not have occurred to you how truly bizarre this case was. It was on the 8th of October in 2013 when little Amber mysteriously went missing. Well, it was reported that she went missing after she wandered out of her family house in Newaygo County, Michigan. And it was reported that at the time little Amber got missing, she was home alone with her dad because her mom was at work. Her dad, however, was in a different room, and by the time he returned to her, she was gone. Her father hurriedly alerted emergency forces, local residents, and a search party of more than 200 people showed up at Hawkins Township Hall to help search for little Amber. How far could a 2-year-old wander, right? Well, the search for her lasted all day and into the night without any luck, even after the police employed the use of helicopters, off-roading vehicles, and a tracking dog so they could determine the path she could have taken from her home. It wasn't until the next day that Amber was finally found near 12 Mile Road and Cedar Avenue in Michigan. She was found standing in the middle of the woods, alone beside a fallen tree. Now, what really amused everyone about her disappearance was that she was found wearing only a tank top without shoes or pants. Some news outlets reported that it was her father who found her pants in the front yard, and even till now, some locals believe she was picked up by someone or something, like some alien movie, while others feel she just walked the distance and got lost in the woods. Unfortunately, the 2-year-old was too stunned and confused to explain how she survived in the woods through the cold night, and this remains something we may never know. Number 4. Patricia Leah Whaley. At number 4, we have the case of Patricia Leah Whaley. Now, this is one tricky case because before she went missing, she told some friends she was going to a doctor's appointment, which was about an hour's drive from her home in Angel Camp, California. But later that evening, she did something extraordinary. She called her neighbor to tell her husband that she wouldn't be gone for long. April 1990 was the last anyone heard from her before she vanished into thin air. And what terrified everyone was the fact that her Chevrolet van was still in a parking lot on May 2nd, 1990, at the exact location a witness reported it 2 weeks before. This particular case went cold, but 15 years later in 2006, the district attorney's office, John Crawford, developed a new digital database to track Social Security numbers and their use. This database found possible criminal activity involving Patricia's Social Security number. The suspect had used different fake names, and to everyone's surprise, when the police interviewed the criminal, it turned out to be none other than Patricia Whaley herself. I mean, who could have guessed that? She later explained that she had intentionally decided to run away, leaving her husband and children behind because she was experiencing some personal problems coupled with depression. This case was solved when she admitted to boarding a bus from California to Colorado. Her strange disappearance is considered solved even though her family might never get an explanation from her. Number 3. Nadia Alexandra DeBaugh. Number 3. Nadia Alexandra DeBaugh. Before 2-year-old Nadia went missing, her father, Mohammed, had expressed his wish to move the family to his hometown in Syria, which his wife, Maureen, didn't like. She was terrified of leaving her daughter with him, so she filed for divorce and custody of Nadia, citing irreconcilable religious differences as the reason. In 1992, she left the family home in Ohio while the custody was being finalized when, sadly, her worst dreams became a reality as Mohammed disappeared with Nadia in late 1992. In October 1995, armed with the full backing of the United States and Syria, Maureen traveled to Syria to secure custody through the courts there. She hoped to find her missing daughter after searching for her in Saudi Arabia, but she couldn't. In the next couple of years, she spent over $250,000 on an international search effort to find what happened to her little girl. But as time passed, she realized that her daughter Nadia might not even know who she was anymore, so she focused on building a relationship with her ex. Now you might be thinking, why is she reconnecting with the same ex who stole her daughter from her? Well, according to Maureen, she did it in hopes that maybe one day Mohammed would introduce her to her daughter himself. The extent of a mother's love, right? Well, this particular wish was granted, because in the middle of the night, sometime in April 2010, she got a phone call from Mohammed, and to her surprise, it was her now 20-year-old Nadia on the line. From there on, the two began to build a relationship. Maureen told reporters that things were awkward at first because by that time, her daughter had been so reshaped by her environment that they had nothing in common. They grew closer over time, however, and in August of 2010, Maureen flew to Damascus in Syria to see her daughter. And since then, the two have remained in constant communication. Case solved. Number 2, Catherine Dyer. Number 2 on our list is perhaps one of the cases that took the longest time to solve. It involved the disappearance of Catherine Dyer in 1954. And as unbelievable as it sounds, she wasn't found until 2009. When her case was reopened in the 21st century, she was believed to be a Jane Doe body that was found on the banks of Boulder Creek in 1954. It was only due to the Jane Doe investigation that Catherine was found alive and well in Australia. I know, you're wondering how she got to Australia. Well, the thing is, before she went missing, she had a short marriage that ended sometime in 1953. After which, she went to a boarding house for single women. On March 26, 1954, she mysteriously disappeared, but the case went unsolved. The case would have continued to remain unsolved if the police hadn't made the connection between her and the discovery of a Jane Doe days after. The Jane Doe wasn't formally connected with Catherine until about a decade later, in 2004, when Jane Doe's case was reopened and Catherine was considered a possible match because the forensics of the bone structure and Catherine looked alike. Real breakthrough didn't come in this case, however, until a senior caretaker in Australia found some old papers in the house of an elderly woman she had been watching. In these papers was an address book with the name Catherine Dyer, and out of curiosity, the caretaker searched the name online, and what she found startled her. She found some theories written by a local historian, Sylvia Pedham, and some photographs that looked exactly like the old woman she had been watching, Barbara. She used other names in the address book to contact other people that knew Barbara and found out her family knew her as Catherine. She also confirmed that Catherine moved to Australia back in 1963, the same time that Barbara lived there. The missing person, which was Catherine Dyer, was eventually found living in a nursing home in Australia back in 2010. Number 1, Stephen Kubacki. Number 1 on our list is the story of a 23-year-old student at Hope College in Holland, Michigan, named Stephen Kubacki. He disappeared on February 20th, 1978, whilst on a solo cross-country skiing trip near the town of Saugatuck. The day after he went on a skiing trip, some snowmobilers spotted skis abandoned with a backpack and reported what they found to the authorities. A search and rescue mission was immediately started, but the only clue they had to work with was a 200-yard trail of footprints in the snow. The footprints led to the edge of the lake before ending abruptly. This case seemed relatively easy to the investigators as they concluded that Steve had fallen through the ice to his death, either by drowning or hypothermia. But boy, were they wrong. 15 months later, Kubacki found himself in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, about 720 miles away from where he was declared missing. And trust me, I'm as confused as you are. But when Stephen was found, he had no memory of the past 15 months. I mean, if that isn't bizarre, then I don't know what is. But one question we can't stop asking is, was Stephen a victim of the Lake Michigan Triangle? Which, by the way, happens to be the site of many missing planes, boats, and people over the years. Or did he get zapped by aliens or some weird stuff? Well, regardless of what happened, my question for you is, which of these cases did you find most shocking? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!